Thank you. I'm Thank you for all of us. Thanking you as a psalmist stated. If it had not been for the Lord on all of our sides where we be, we thank you tonight. Many blessings. Pray for the many families that this is the first Thanksgiving, first Christmas without a loved one. Would you wrap your loving arms around them as only you can? That peace that's all understanding. We thank you, Lord, for our administration, for our travel counselors here tonight. Pray, Lord, that we come together for all things, decent and in order. God, we give you the praise, honor, and glory for it all. For in your name we do only pray. Amen.
And as we continue to stand, Mr. Bill Oxendine, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? United States of America. Republic.
Indivisible.
And as we remain standing, Miss Nancy, would you read the preamble? Would you lead us in that, please? Parent power, self-governance of the Lumbee Tribe of North Carolina. Tribe adopts this Constitution for the purpose of serving for all time the Lumbee way of life and community. Voting, educational, cultural, economic well-being of the Lumbee. May be seated. Madam Secretary, would you give us a roll call?
Ely Oxendine,
Present.
Sharon Hunt, Gerald Gooseby,
Here.
Pearl Smith,
Here.
Pam Hunt,
Here.
J.D. Bullard,
Here.
Wendy Moore, Carrington Locklear,
Here.
Christy Hunt,
Here.
Richard Jones, Nancy Locklear here, Yvonne Dahl here, Rudy Locklear, Kathy Hunt, Joy McNeil,
Here.
Bobby Emanuel,
Here.
Chakawana Oxendine here, Josephine Dawes
Here.
Annie Taylor, Alex Baker, Alma Fields.
Here.
Have a quorum.
Madam Secretary, at this time I'd like to read the ethics statement. In accordance with Ethics and Conflict of Interest Ordinance 2010-0312-01, amended March 12, 2010, it is the duty of every council member to avoid both apparent and perceived conflicts of interest with regard to any matters before council in this business meeting. If so, please refrain from participation in those deliberations. All documents that require council action are considered confidential and shall not be disseminated until after a vote by the full council. I would like to welcome you tonight. Our speaker couldn't be with us tonight. I ask that you keep her in prayer. God knows about it. And at this time, I would like to welcome, I don't see our chairman, but I do see our administrator, Mr. Ricky Harris. I'd like to welcome you tonight. And at this time, I'd like to call for the review and approval of the agenda. Yes,
Chair.
Mr. Bobby.
Can I add something to the agenda, please?
A motion.
Second. Vote to override. I want to vote on the override veto of CLLO 2010-031201 Ethics of Conflict of Interest Ordinance.
Madam Secretary, roll call. Yes.
What's the issue? Dewey was trying to tell me, but I don't have a problem putting it on the agenda. But what's the issue?
Oh, it was vetoed by the chairman, and this is the vote to override it. It was sent to the full council, so the full council needs to vote on it. Either override it or send it back to council.
What was the purpose? veto? Was there an explanation?
Oh, we took out the waiting where you had to wait a year to be employed by the tribe. For all appointees and council members, and we took that out as a council, as a committee. We took it out. That's the
One
issue.
issue?
Yes,
What would you say, Danielle or somebody had, you said something about attorney had an issue?
that was the issue for the veto.
Okay, thank
Mr. Richard.
Did you say that we took out all, taking out all the time you have, taking out time you have to wait? I thought it was you had to wait 1 year.
Okay, so
I think it went down from 3 years. Some people wanted months, and from my recollection, we compromised and went from 3 years to 1 year. I thought that's what I read.
no, it was already 1 year. So I'm gonna read to you what it
Okay.
said. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Any person identified in section 1, number 1 of this ordinance shall not be eligible for employment for the Lumbee tribe within 1 year of the end of their service, provided that they leave in good standing. That was what was in there, and we took it out as a committee.
One other question.
Gerald.
Would it not be appropriate to send it back to committee and bring it back up at the next council after the committee
I think
discusses it?
that's what
Wouldn't
his
that be
plan
appropriate?
is.
I mean, I don't have a problem with overriding the veto. That's not the issue. I just think that if it was vetoed, we need further discussion on it, as well as our attorney talk with us about it, because we hired an attorney to advise us. I would like to have further discussion. I don't have a problem with override or veto, but I'm not going to vote for override tonight without discussing it further.
Bill.
Also, I'd like to see a copy of what we're talking about, Brother Bobby.
At our discussion, we're ready for roll call.
Billy Oxenine,
No,
Sharon Hunt, Gerald Gooseby,
Yes, for putting it on the agenda.
Harold Smith,
Yes.
Pam Hunt,
Yes.
Jody Bullard,
Yes.
Wendy Moore, Carrington Locklear, Christy Hunt,
Yes.
Richard Jones,
Yes.
Nancy Locklear, yes, Siobhan Dahl,
Yes.
Rudy Locklear, Kathy Hunt, Joy McNeil,
Yes.
Bobby Emanuel,
Yes.
Chakawana Oxenine,
Yes.
Josephine Dawes,
Yes.
Andy Taylor, Alex Baker, Homer Fields.
Yes.
Motion passed.
So if it please the council, we'll add that to the lot right after CNO.
Madam Speaker. I'd also
Okay.
like to add one item to the agenda. Council, you have in front of you a letter. This is a letter of support. I didn't have an opportunity to submit it through the Hill Committee due to the urgency of this grant. This is the Tar Heel, the Carolina Bus Tour grant. It will be used only for the tribal health assessment for our community. This is just approval for us. It's saying that we're okay with going forth with this grant. We can't have this letter of support without it. So if we don't get a letter of support from the committee, from the council, it's dead in the water. And the tribal health assessment won't be able to get done. We have to submit it it will be submitted by January the 1st, and it should be approved in less than 10 days. And I'd like for your support. Like I said, you have a letter in front of you. I'd just like to add it to the agenda.
Are you offering that as a motion?
No, I'd like to add it to the agenda to get approved.
You have to ask for a motion to add it to the agenda.
Can I get a motion?
Okay. Is there a second?
Yes.
yeah,
If you agree to add it, you don't have to vote on it.
I know, but I'm I don't want to, anybody else to understand. So, all in favor of adding this to agenda, say aye. We won't-
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Um, okay, so now is that all the additions? Now, can we have review and approval of the agenda
Madam Speaker, I make a motion that we approve tonight's business meeting agenda.
Second.
with the additions? And properly moved. Who did the second? Mr. Bill? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we will entertain a motion to approve the review and approval of the October Tribal Council minutes and actions.
Madam Speaker, I make a motion to approve the October minutes.
Second.
Motion been properly moved by Mr. Jody Bullard, seconded by Mr. Gerald Goolsby. All in favor? Okay, at this time on our agenda, Chairman Lowry is not with us, so in his stead, we're going to ask the tribal administrator, Mr. Ricky Harris, if he would come forth at this time.
Thank you, Ms. Speaker. Just a couple of items, gang. You should have at your desk, the Christmas party that we're gonna have on 22nd. All you guys are invited and can bring a guest. Sixteenth. I'm sorry. Christmas party is the 16th. That's the hams. That's giving out the hams. Invited to our Christmas party at the Boys and Girls Club. We would like to also tell you about the hams that we're going to give away on the 15th and the light show. And take time. We want to thank Mr. Harold Smith. He's worked diligently with Smithfield to give us a discount on the hams and get us some extra hams. So, if you guys get a chance, give him a.
Will those be handed out like they've been for us to give out in our districts, or people will have to come here to bid on? How's that going to work?
Just a minute. The chairman has listened to you, gang, and what we're going to do, we're going to give them out at 5 different places. We have a drive-through at the Culture Center where we'll give out hams. We're going to give out hams in Cumberland County, Scotland County, Hope County, and Allerton. Chairman, listen to you guys, and he says Allerton's the farthest one away in the county, but all the other places, Hope County, Scotland County, have.
So Fairmont's left out again.
Well, I mean, you can't do them all.
I'm speaking for Sharon too,
You
because she
can't
would
do
have
them all,
brought it up.
Jenny. I mean, we tried to get the farthest ones away, and we only got so many staff.
But can the council members go to Allenton, give names that we're going to and pick up for some elders or something?
That should be fine.
Mr. Bill?
Mr. Rick, you said Culture Center.
Yes, sir.
The folks in my district say that it's hard to get in now. Is there any way we can do it back here? And that'll be an easy drive in and drive out?
The new setup with the Culture Center, if you were there for the powwow,
Yeah.
is fantastic. We did not have a lot of trouble last year. I mean, they have to wait till we open. I mean, that was part of the problem. Some folks are there early and have to wait till we open. We're going to roll it through just like we did last time. That's the plan. Yeah.
Two things, Mr. Harris. You said this paper we have is for the hams, but it looks like it's saying Christmas party Saturday. I think the date is wrong. It says 15th.
Christmas party is the 16th.
Party's the
The hams is the
16th, and the
15th.
ham is the 15th on the Friday. Okay, my second question is this like in the past? All people, not just tribal citizens?
We're not going to be checking for anything, Mr.
You're not checking cards.
We also have some other giveaways that we're going to give. We got some brooms and different stuff and some masks and stuff that we're going to give out. So some other goodies that we're going to give out during that. That being said, We have Mr. Cecil Locklear is here. He wants to talk to you guys a little bit about some Medicare in the community, some things that's going on. I don't think he's here to try to sell anything. He's been talking to some of our folks. There are some problems with what folks are doing with Medicare in the district. They have good plans, but areas don't accept it. So he wants to give you guys some information that you can give out in your districts and stuff to help folks get the best plan possible, or at least to know the difference in plans. I know there's a couple of plans that Lumberton doesn't accept in other places, and some folks don't accept. So he's here, and we had asked the speaker if he could speak. So Mr. Cecil is going to come forward and just give you guys some information.
Mr. Cecil, Mr. Bobby.
Appreciate that, Mr. Harris, helping us out. Be able to purchase additional hands if you want to give out in our district. We got people that can't. I got people in my district that can't get out, and I'm about to bring it to them.
Get,
We'll,
you can
we'll
get
have to
that from
talk.
your discretionary funds.
We'll have to talk to Mr. Hurl about if he can get additional. That's the question we.
Get additional.
We can
Mr.
bring them
Harold,
if we can get the additional. I mean, we can bring
we're
them.
putting them on the spot, aren't we? Fanny.
Appreciate that, Mr. Hurl.
Vicky, why don't y'all do it like you did last year? You gave each council member some money to go out in their community. The elders that did not have a way of getting there.
There'll be hams in Scotland County if you need.
Harold,
Brad
I'm
will
sorry.
be working Scotland County. Peter will be working Allenton. Have somebody working Cumberland. Tony will be working with you, and
Trying to say, where's Tony working?
Tony will be working.
Mr. I'm sorry, Mr. Harold, you had your hand up. You're okay.
But we'll check with Mr. Hurl, Mr. Bobby, if we can get some extra ones. We'll be glad to take your funds and get some extra.
At this time, we'll yield the floor to Mr. Cecil Locklear.
I want to thank Mr. Ricky for having me. Over the last month, I'm actually had the opportunity to spend some time with Miss Sharon, Miss Tammy, Miss Celeste, Mr. Tony, through a partnership with Blue Cross and Blue Shield, with you guys, with the tribe. We've tried to identify ways to better serve our elders within the community. Fact of the matter is a lot of our elders are underserved when it comes to their healthcare needs. And basically, it just boils back down to lack of education. A lot of our seniors and elders are just prideful in the sense where sometimes when it comes to their healthcare needs and what they qualify for, they don't understand, so they don't ask. When it comes to Medicare, there's a lot of programs that these elders qualify for that they just don't know about. There's not a week that goes by that I meet somebody where they can't afford their medication, or they sit here and have to make a decision: am I going to buy my medicine, if I'm going to pay for my lights, or am I going to get grocery this month? And it's sad that they have to make that decision. So like what I do as an agency, and by the way, I'm Cecil Locklear. I, along with two partners, have our agency in Lumberton, which is Innovative Insurance Group. We predominantly do major medical. We do a lot of Medicare. We service Robeson and surrounding counties. But with that being said, like when I actually come in contact with a senior, I'm actually vetting them to make sure that they qualify for every particular thing that they're eligible for. I passed around a paper for you guys. What that is, what a lot of seniors don't realize, is they're eligible for a whole lot more benefits than what they currently receive. There was a Medicaid expansion bill passed earlier this year that's set to take effect December the 1st. Now, that's going to affect individuals 18 to 64, and I think there's between 5 to 600,000 people that's going to be eligible for Medicaid in North Carolina that's currently not receiving. Now, that also affects individuals that have disability, but part of that, individuals that have Medicare, the guidelines on there. What a lot of people don't realize when it comes to Medicare, if a single individual draws less than $21,000, as a family of two, if they draw less than $29,000, they're eligible for additional benefits. If anybody has Medicare, you guys know Medicare is not free. Just to have Medicare, this year the Part B premium was $164.90. Next year it's $174.70. But with that being said, on this guideline that I passed out to you guys, if they fall within this category, which is honestly is probably about 3 out of 4 elders within our community, what it does, it will basically give them that Part B premium reduction back. So they do not have to pay that $164. They get that back every single month. But not only that, they're eligible for basically free medication, where they don't have to actually pay for their medication. But now these insurance companies, and there's multiple insurance companies that offer additional benefits if you qualify for some form of extra help. A lot of times that I see with our seniors, they don't have transportation to and from the doctor or to go get their medicine, where these particular plans kind of cater to those individuals where if they qualify for this, not only do they get that $164 back on their check each month, they don't have to pay for the medicine, but also it actually gives them utility assistance and food benefits. Now, I know you guys actually, one thing that you guys do that I really like is the Energy program to help, seniors, with their light bill. But now, kind of help to bridge the gap is these insurance companies, if they qualify for the extra help, they can actually use their insurance, where some of these companies will give them up to $300 a month, where they can use it to pay their light bill, their internet, their cell phone bill, or they can go to Walmart or the Food Line to get grocery. Not only that, it provides additional benefits like transportation, etc. So I just see a lot of seniors that qualify for a lot more than what they're getting. I'll give you an example. I actually had met a senior. She drew $1,045. She did not have no medical. She just had prescription drug coverage. It was WellCare. On a Part D plan, there was a $495 deductible. This lady was paying $688 a month for the first year for her medicine. Every month after that, her medicine was 200 and some dollars. She only drew $1,045. It was sad. She made the comment that she did not even have food in her particular cabinets to eat. But with that being said, like, I was able to assist her, get her approved for the extra help. Now she's actually extra help and dual eligible, meaning she has Medicare and Medicaid. So now she's saving $164. She's not paying for her medicine, and she's getting an additional $300 to be able to pay utilities. So what our agency does, we partner with a lot of nonprofits. It's church and community. Another thing that we do, we actually do it. We just had one November the 3rd in Robeson County. We've had one in Scotland County, Cumberland County, where we kind of have like outreach programs. We do twice a year what they call a Medicist event for anybody everybody's eligible, just not seniors, but we actually give medicine out for the individuals that can't afford it. So we actually have, if it's outreach or certain events to try to educate. So just trying to figure out a way, how do we get in front of these seniors to let them know what they're eligible for? It's just the sad reality. These seniors have to sit here and make a decision, are they going to keep their lights on to get their medicine every month? So um, that's what I'm trying to do, is find a way to get in front of the seniors. Now, do you guys have any particular questions for me that I can? Yes, sir.
Bill?
I'm a retired state employee. Would that be eligible? Because somebody told me I couldn't go off of my plan and go to
So,
another plan.
like my recommendation when it comes to state retirees have two options. As a state retiree, that individual had an 80-20 plan with Blue Cross and Blue Shield. So when they particularly retired, they had the option to keep the Blue Cross and Blue Shield 70-30 plan, but now those retirees have the option to also have Humana. And it like I'll tell people like this: I'm not loyal to a company. I'm loyal to my clients. I solely base my decisions off of doctors and medications. It's not like one company pays me more than the next company. But with that being said, there's certain companies that cater. I'll give you an example. On state retirees, a lot of times I prefer the Blue Cross and Blue Shield 70-30, depending on your medication. I'll give you a reason why compared to the Humana. So if there's a state retiree who's a diabetic, the 70-30 plan would actually give that diabetic their insulin for free, where the Humana won't do that. But also, I know the state plan don't offer extra dental, where these plans actually have a Part B premium reduction and give you up to $2,000 to $3,000 in dental every single year, plus give you $50 to $150 back on your Social Security each month. But just dependent on your medications and needs. Yeah, you got the Humana 90-10 base plan, the $20 and $40 copay. And just so I know I see some of you are retired state employees, but with that being said, Aetna was awarded the state contract, so they will be changing next year.
Mr. Jody.
Mr. Cecil, thank you for coming out and giving us that value information. Just last couple months ago, this council approved a Health and Human Services Committee within administration. And this is one of the main issues that I wanted not only our council to hear, but our general public to hear. How important this Medicaid expansion is going to be not only for our council, but our community members. A lot of folks don't know how valuable it's going to be and how valuable it can be for a nonprofit like us. Developing a Health and Human Services within administration. How we can have a referral committee, a referral center set up for a community where we can refer those candidates to health services they need that they know nothing about for this Medicaid expansion.
You're exactly right.
So this is one issue I want you guys to take into consideration, that this can be valuable not only for our community, but also us as administration. Thank you, Cecil.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cecil. At this time, I would like to have, we've got a very special person in the audience, Mr. Kendall Chavis. Would you come forward? And we'll get your family up here in just a minute. Now, Mr. Kendall is the national champion of the United States Powerlifting Coalition. Okay? Don't make him mad. Now, what makes him so very special, he's from District 3. Okay, Mr. Kendall is 20 years old. He's a junior at UNCP, majoring in biology with a concentration in forestry, and works part-time with UNCP Student Services, as well as part-time at True Value Hardware. So when do you have time to wait? Anyway, he is a member of God's Holy Assembly and Saddle Tree Church of God. He graduated St. Paul's High School in 2021, started powerlifting in 2021. His parents are Danny and Jan, and Katera Chavis and Mr. Daniel Hammonds. Grandparents are Caleb and Ruby Chavis. My dear friend, Miss Gwen Scott and Mr. Leroy Scott. But this time, would you like to say something to us, Mr. Kendall? And then we're going to do some photo ops.
Yes, ma'am. Sounds good. I got a loud voice. I don't know if I need this or not. But first and foremost, I don't know if I'm more nervous winning them or being here tonight. So want to thank the good Lord for blessing me with the opportunity to be here. Without him, we don't have nothing. I want to thank each and every one of y'all.
Amen.
I want to thank the tribe for inviting me out here, me and my family. I don't have much to say. Like I said, I don't talk a lot unless you know me personally, but I guess I do. But just thank you again, and thank the good Lord for putting me in this opportunity to try to spread some positivity in the youth. And just I'm in an age to where there's so many different ways I can go as far as a young man, trying to spread some positivity in the county, and especially with powerlifting. Like I said, it's not a very common sport. It's football, baseball, and everything like that. And there's just so many different, like I said, ways I can go, and I try to spread it. And my end goal, I'd like to own a gym somewhere in the county, maybe for like troubled youth or something like that, whether it's been through divorced parents or abuse or something like that, where they could come in and just be able to lift. And that's the thing with powerlifting. It don't matter your age or race or sex, height, nothing like that. Anybody can lift weights, can start from the bottom and work their way up. So I guess that's a little bit about me.
So real quick, before we get into some questions, Mr. Kendall, if you'll come up front, your two representatives are going to meet you down there, and then we're going to get your family up here for some.
Yes, ma'am.
Give me your phone number. I'm gonna have some.
Sounds good.
While they're doing that, Kendall's I call him one of my students. And to his parents, his village, you should commend yourself and pat yourself on the back. He is a well-respected young man. All my encounters with him have been so positive. So you all have done a good job with the help of the Lord of raising him.
Mr. Kendall, can you give us the winning weight that you had?
Medals, hold the medals out. So.
What was the event held at? Baltimore?
Hey, got good sports. Like, let's just move him a little bit more so we can see him a little bit. Yeah, maybe just maybe move him a little bit more so we can get him in the very center. Said he's strong, not fast.
Okay. Um, Two things real quick. I want to recognize this person is in the shadows so much, but we are so blessed and especially a couple of weeks ago to have this man in our midst. I want to recognize our attorney, Mr. Daniel Locklear. Okay, and where do we have community comments? Do we have any community comments? Okay, before we let's do a couple of things if you'll bear with me before we do that. I'd like to recognize our new council elect that I was told is in the audience, Mr. Grayland, Mr. Chavis. Okay, and again, before we go on, there's one quick little thing I want us to do. You know, a couple of weeks ago, we were in Louisiana, and I've asked Mr. Gerald to tell you what that involved, why we needed to be there, and how just tough it was, Mr. Gerald.
Yeah, first of all, everybody that went, raise your hand. These people needs to be commended. NCAI, there was a movement on by certain federally recognized tribes, especially one of our major enemies, to um, kick state recognized tribes out of the organization. NCAI is the organization that presents and backs up Indian community and legislation items and benefit items and stuff of that nature with Washington, and is wanting to kick the state recognized tribes out. My personal opinion, that was just a stepping stone. They tried to kick us out of the art, so basically saying that state recognized tribe couldn't put on artwork that they created that it was made by Native Americans. That was the first step they did last year. And then they come up wanting to kick us out of the NCAI, which is a stepping stone to kick us out of all federal programs. If your name is not on the list in Washington at the BIA, they're basically was saying we weren't native. A lot of people spoke. A lot of people sitting around the table here spoke against. A bunch of people spoke for. It was very hard sitting there to hear some of the slanderous things that the recognized tribes were making against state tribes about phony as a $3 bill, fake tribes, wannabes, all kind of different things, and it was very hard to sit there, but we kept her cool. We stuck to the point. We was there bright and early every morning. One morning we was there. We handed out a couple thousand handouts in every chair that was in the audience. I volunteered to work on the elections board there. It was hard to help people vote, and especially when they was voting to kick us out. But very interesting. But we did defeat the both amendments that they was trying to do. Just about everything that we wanted to do in New Orleans, we accomplished. All but the presidency. But the president that was elected is a friend of state tribes, is what I was told. So I think that we get criticized for traveling. We get criticized for going to events. But I'm going to tell you, when we go to these events, everybody don't do it, but the majority of the ones that goes has our tribe at heart, and we go there to learn and fight for our people. I spent every day at the conference. Many of us did. We left the conference center, went to the motel. Next morning, back at it again every day. I think I went out there one night that whole week. A lot of work, a lot of communicating, telling our story of the Lumbee people. A lot of tribes don't know about us. And when we told them, was able to sit down and tell our story to them, some of them changed their mind as their viewpoint against us. So Alaskan tribe, I talked to a couple of Alaskan tribes for a long time. They're willing to send support letters for us. I think Mr. Richard sat down and talked to the Ute tribe, and he was one of the ones that was criticizing a great deal, the Ute tribe chairman. And matter of fact, I thought I might have been getting arrested. They told me they'd had a Lumbee day when I got back home for Gerald Goolsby if I had, but that particular person was approached in the crowd by another person, and I thought it was fixing to come to war. I walked over there behind them and tried to help little me with a bad back. But anyway, luckily it didn't go that far. And we do have friends out there. We do have friends. It would have took 2/3 vote to amend the Constitution. The vote was roughly, I'm rounding up, 56% to 44% against. I mean, 44% for and 56% against. So we did defeat it. We just got to continue to get our message out. We need to talk to people in other states. We need to talk to people in other tribes. Our Lumbee people has people that lives all over the United States. And if we can get the message to them, get them literature that they can send to their representatives and to tell our story. I told them in my speech from the crowd, I used blessed be the tie. And what ties us is not some white sheet of paper. In Washington, it's the blood. And our blood is what makes us native. It's not somebody writing their name on a piece of paper. So I tore the sheet up in front of the whole, for the crowd. And after that, a lot of people come up to me and said, that made an impact. But that's the reality. Washington can write your name on a piece of paper, but that pen that they use has an eraser on it too. And there were several tribes that had been put on the list and taken off the list and put back on the list and taken off the list. That don't determine that we're native. Our blood, our ancestors, our forefathers and mothers is what determines who we are. And we should be proud to be Native American, and we should tell our story everywhere we go. Thank you.
Yes, Pam.
At this time, Ms. Lakeisha, do we have community comments?
Yes, Pam.
Yes.
I'd like to say something about the conference if I could.
Yes, sir.
It's what I found out was speaking with a lot of people, that a lot of tribes representatives, and this to make it so we're not make it clear, it was a Ute tribal councilman that I was speaking with, and they were dead set against us. They don't know what Indian Termination Act was. Just about everyone I asked them, do you understand what Indian Termination? They don't even know. And then when they hear that we went through the Indian Termination Act, their whole story changes. So they're saying, why aren't we telling our story? Everyone, why aren't we telling it? And I explained to them that we got our cousins across the mountain that we used to trade with that's spending $2 billion a year fighting against us. That's how come you're hearing, they're telling our story. They're telling their story. They want people to hear better than we're telling it. And we got to start telling it. We got to get out there and tell our story, because when they hear it, when they hear what we went through, they're on our side. And it was funny that his uncle was one of the founding members of NCAI. And I'm sitting there with Lacey Maynard on one of the posters, on one of the billboards that they put up for NCAI was a Lumbee who had a quote. And he was one of the founding members. So it was funny that youth and was fighting against us. But they have a different story now, thanks to the people that went out. But also, I got asked this question: what about the fake Indians? And I can say this: out of all the state recognized tribes I know in North Carolina, I'll go on record, not one of them's fake. So I got to tell them that. But y'all listen, they give me examples. There was some Lumbees of Texas that tried to organize. There was Lumbees of some other place here, and they had no tie to us. So it's people out there now. There's fake Indians, but it's not this tribe, and it's not no other state recognized tribe in this state. But we do got to get out. We've got to get out and tell our story. Thank you.
If not, we'll give way to community comments.
Tammy Jones.
Ms. Tammy Jump.
Good afternoon, everybody. We have had a wonderful Native American Heritage Month. Walk in My Mocks this time surpassed last year. We saw over 1,800 students from Cumberland County, Polk County, and Robeson County. We had great weather. We had great lessons that were taught. We had a great time, other than the bees wanted to come join us out at the Cultural Center. But we had 2 eagles that joined us on different days while we were there. We had the opportunity to pass on that heritage so that all people know who we are and where we're coming from. I would like to thank those council members who helped support this financially. I have a small gift from them from Lumbee Storyteller, and I hope that we continue to pass on our heritage to these younger generations. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Tammy. Okay.
If you would, if y'all would all open it, you have it's either a lapel pin or a hat pin that has been personally designed inside the red cloth for each of you. Open it, Pam Hunt.
Thank you, Miss Tammy. This is absolutely gorgeous. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
This time, we'll go into our committee reports. On behalf of Finance, Mr. Jody Bullard, would you?
Thank you. The first one we'll look at is CLLO 2023-1128-01. Violence Against Women Act grant budget. We'll start at the fifth whereas Lumbee Tribe of North Carolina reserves the right to amend the budget upon the chairman's recommendation as deemed appropriate to maintain a balanced budget. And whereas the Lumbee Tribe of North Carolina has received the grant from the North Carolina Department of Public Safety by North Carolina Governor's Crime Commission to be named Violence Against Women Act grant budget in the amount of $1,098, $196.31. And whereas the grant will be administered as described in the budget below, and therefore it be enacted by the Tribal Council of the Lumbee Tribe of North Carolina, the following ordinance shall be cited as the Violence Against Women's Act grant budget, subject to all inclusions and provisions as stated by the North Carolina Department of Public Safety and Governor's Commission, Crime and Commission.
Okay, coming from committee, it needs no second. Madam Secretary?
Yatsen, aye.
Yes.
Sharon Hunt, Gerald Gooseby,
Yes.
Earl Smith,
Yes.
Pam Hunt,
Yes.
Jody Bullard,
Yes.
Wendy Moore, Carrington Locklear,
Yes.
Christy Hunt, Richard Jones,
Yes.
Nancy Locklear, yes. Yvonne Dahl, Rudy Locklear, Kathy Hunt, Joy McNeil,
Yes.
Bobby Manuel,
Yes.
Chakawana Oxendine,
Yes.
Josephine Dawes,
Yes.
Annie Taylor,
Yes.
Alex Baker, Homer Fields.
Yes.
Thank you. The next, we will look at the CLLO 2023-1128-02, Opioid Response Prevention Community Impact North Carolina grant budget. We will start at the sixth whereas the Lumbee Tribe of North Carolina has received a grant from the Community Impact North Carolina to be named Opioid Response Prevention Grant Budget in the amount of $55,000. And whereas the grant will be administered as described in the budget below, and therefore it be enacted by the Tribal Council, the Lumbee Tribe of North Carolina, the following ordinance shall be cited as the Opioid Response Prevention Community Impact North Carolina Grant Budget, subject to all inclusions and provisions as stated by the Community Impact North Carolina.
Mr. Richard?
And so I'm correct. This is the grant where we're going to supply lock boxes to all our elders to store. Okay, great.
And, this is a big problem too in our county in Lumbee, and I'm sure, not picking on anybody, I'm sure Ms. Katera can attest to that there is a great need for this. So even though it seems like a small amount, we will utilize it well. This was a $55,000 grant. Only $9,600 will go to supplement someone's salary who was already here. Supplies which is mostly the lock boxes, as Mr. Richard talked about. It's $27,887, and there will be some outreach monies for $5,000, and then there's some travel. And people cringe when we say that word in Lumbee land. However, you've got to get our people trained to do their stuff correct. So this time, Madam.
Miss Pam, what department would this come up under?
What department? This is its own department. It's just a small grant.
So my question is, are we hiring an employee for this part
No,
time?
we've already got an employee. We're just gonna take part of that salary out of this budget. Mr. Richard.
And speaking of salary, Dollar Bill, if I'm not mistaken, this is going to, the salary here is replacing Nahasda money. So
Exactly.
that's going to save for housing.
Right.
So that money
that'll,
get to go back to housing.
that's exactly right. Anyone else? Hearing none, Madam Secretary.
Billy Oxendine,
Yes.
Sharon Hunt, Joe Gooseby,
Yes.
Earl Smith,
Yes.
Pam Hunt,
Yes.
J.D. Bullard,
Yes.
Wendy Moore, Carrington Locklear,
Yes.
Christy Hunt, Richard Jones,
Yes.
Nancy Locklear, yes, Siobhan Dodd, Rudy Locklear, Kathy Hunt, Joy McNeil,
Yes.
Bobby Manuel,
Yes.
Chakawana Oxendine,
Yes.
Josephine Dawes,
Yes.
Annie Taylor,
Yes.
Alice Baker, Homer Fields. Motion carries.
Jody.
Next, we will have the CLLO 2023112803 Candy Park Development Project Grant Budget. We will start at the 6, whereas the Olympia Tribe of North Carolina has received a grant from the North Carolina Office of Recovery and Resilience to be named Candy Park Development Project Grant Budget in the amount of $7,425,000. And whereas the grant will be administered as described in the budget below, and therefore it be enacted by the Olympia Tribe of North Carolina, the following ordinance shall be cited as the Candy Park Development Project Grant Budget, subject to all inclusions and provisions as stated by the North Carolina Office of Recovery and Resilience.
Thank you. Mr. Harris, would you come up real quick and explain for the audience how we received this grant and why it's going where it's going, why the housing's going where it's going?
And one other thing, that how many houses that's going to represent?
30, right? 30 houses. When we put in for the grant, it had to, some reason when this grant had to be closest possible place that was ready to Scotland County. That was part of the reason for the grant. It had to be ready to use at the time. Candy Park was ready and had to be close to Scotland County. That was part of the stipulation in the grant that we filed for. Put in for it, and we're going to do 30 homes, home ownership, and Candy Park. And we have Candy Park's big enough now. There's 81 acres, so we'll use 10 or 12 acres of that to do it.
And this was free money, guys. Free money. Free money.
Oh, hold on.
Mr. Oxenden.
You say the park's ready?
Yes, Candy Park's ready.
We'll have that
The
water line,
land's already purchased.
water line and stuff like that's going to have to be done.
Mr. Gerald.
Mr. Ricky, we discussed in the meeting when we talked about this, having multiple size houses. We are going to have like 1 bedroom and 2 bedrooms in there. I've been hit several times about 1 bedroom houses for seniors and 2 bedroom houses. Would that be incorporated in this?
These are family units, right, David? These are family units.
So all of them is going to be 3 bedroom. I know in the meeting we talked about 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, and 3 bedroom.
We're working on trying to get them.
Mr. Mill.
Are these rentals or home ownership?
Home ownership.
All of them?
All this will be home ownership.
Thank you.
Mr. Jody.
I just want to commend our administration just passing this again. We just don't understand how big housing is in our community. There's a waiting list. It's probably miles long. And we hear all the time, what are we doing for our people? This is an example of what we're doing for our people. Thank you.
What is happening, gang, with the community meetings you guys have had since I've been here, you've emphasized what we're doing, and we're just getting more folks coming in, more folks is adding to the list, and we can only go through so many, even with, rehab. We set a record on rehab this year, but we still added that many more because you guys are out telling folks what's going on and what's available as far as housing and everything else. I mean, we're building 10, 12 houses a year for home ownership, but we're getting 20 people trying to get on the list. So we just got to find ways to be more And this is a way some of those folks may get these houses, and that'll help us out.
But we also need them in places besides just Plumbrook. Cause we got needs all over the 4 counties for homes.
And I'm not trying to be ugly, but we spent more time on the Roland grant that we did not get than the Candy Park grant that we did. We're trying, gang. We're trying everywhere we can. We spent hours and hours, Mr. Bill, and we didn't get the Roland grant. We got this grant. I mean, it's it's how it's judged and the opportunities you get. I mean,
Ms. Yvonne.
IDC mean?
Indirect cost. Indirect cost. Right.
And is that just right now, just kind of a ballpark figure, that 675? Is that kind of 10%? We're going to keep it at.
yeah, Rich, we
Trying to.
we don't think we've got quite enough money to do the 30 houses. We think we'll have to mix some money in with it together because we didn't, this the price of houses right now.
Mr. Gerald.
I'd personally like to commend the staff for even getting this grant because this is in addition to the budget that we just
Yes, it
passed.
is.
This is free money. I mean,
Absolutely.
30 families is going to have a home because of y'all's work, and I really appreciate it, and I thank you.
Miss Kathy.
Mr. Ricky, is low income family or middle family?
There's stipulations. I don't think it's as low as some of the others, but it's low. It's low income.
So it's got to be a family,
Yeah,
husband and wife and children.
well, I don't know if it's that criteria is that family housing.
Family.
I mean, I'm sure it could be a mother with children. I mean, if they qualify.
Christy.
All right, Mr. Harris, Anthony Pavia, District 6. Got
That
to
is a
get
good
something
break.
there.
If you knew the time, Mr. Richards had us spending District 6. We're trying, gang. We truly are
Well,
trying.
Okay. Madam Secretary.
Billy Outsinine.
I don't like the location, but I vote yes.
Did I ask you, do you like the vacation? Sharon Hunt, Gerald Gooseby,
Yes.
Harold Smith,
Yes.
Pam Hunt,
Absolutely.
J.D. Bullard,
Yes.
Wendy Moore, Carrington Locklear,
Yes.
Christy Hunt,
yes.
Richard Jones,
Yes.
Nancy Locklear, yes. Yvonne Daw,
Yes.
Rudy Locklear, Kathy Hunt,
Yes.
Joy McNeil,
Yes.
Bobby Manuel,
Yes.
Chakawana Oxenine,
Yes.
Josephine Doss,
Yes.
Annie Taylor, Alex Baker, Homer Fields. Motion carries for Candy Park Development District 7.
Um, Next, we'll turn it over to Mr. Dewey McNeil, Constitution and Ordinance. Before we do, audience, I want to commend you and thank y'all for staying after, because I'm really and truly, Mr. Kendall needs to be able to know this stuff when he's up there. You might be in a situation like we were in Louisiana, and you might have to use that weight, okay, to sway some votes. Okay, Mr. Dewey.
Okay, we'll look at CLLO-2021-0819-01, Establishment of the Lumbee Tribal Constitution Reform Committee Guidelines, Amendment Number 2. Just to give a little update to the council that wasn't here at the last committee meeting, Constitution Reform Committee is having problems with a quorum. So in the guidelines, it states that they have to have a quorum and follow Robert's Rules of Order. So the chairperson asked that we suspend the Robert's Rules of Order so they can still conduct their meeting without having to have a quorum, because there's always a lack of quorum for every meeting. So in this amendment, taking out the Robert's Rules of Order, but I will Start with the fourth whereas. Whereas the Lumbee Tribal Council enacted CLLO-2021-0617-02, establishment of the Lumbee Tribal Council Reform Committee, also known as TCR, on June 17th, 2021. And then whereas the Lumbee Tribal Council Constitution Ordinance Committee approved guidelines governing the TCR at the July 20th, 2021 meeting and are as follows. And if you go down to number 3, you can see where we highlighted in red what's been taken out. So now section 3 will say all meetings of the TCR committee will be determined by the committee excluding alternates. Meetings will be either in person or virtual.
Any discussion?
I agree with going away with this, but also, I don't know where we need to put it at, whether it's in an ordinance or just in a resolution or something, communicate to this committee. We do have a chairman's race coming up next year. We need to have all the modifications of the Constitution back to us probably within at least 6 months before the chairman's race. So this could be on the agenda, on the ballot for that race, because after anything's modified, the election has to take part in the whole 4 districts, and the elections is expensive. It's nothing to be rushed, but it would be nice for us to have some time, and I don't know how to handle that, but I think we need to have some kind of time frame to get it back in our hands so we can take their work and finish it, be put on the ballot, and communicate to our people.
Mr. Jody.
I'd like to make a final amendment, or whatever if you want to call it, suggestion. I'd like to have it before March. I'd like to have that before March because it takes us a while to approve and / go through, send back. I'd like to have that back before March.
Okay, number 1, are you making that in the form of a motion? Because both of you just made recommendations. Nobody asked for a motion.
First, we need
I
to
don't know
vote.
whether we need to put it in ordinance or in a letter to them.
Okay, but
I don't know
first,
how to do that, but I'm just saying we just need to have it.
okay, before,
Everyone's appropriate.
all right, before we do any motions, we've got this that came out of committee that we've got to deal with first. And then we'll do that. All right.
Mr. Ricky
But
had
did you have a question?
I think my question could be after
After the vote.
this vote.
Okay, so coming from committee, it needs no second, Madam Secretary?
I'm
Yes.
Karen Hunt, Joe Gooseby,
Yes.
Harold Smith,
Yes.
Pam Hunt,
Yes.
Jody Bullard,
Yes.
Wendy Moore, Carrington Locklear,
Yes.
Christy Hunt,
Yes.
Richard Jones,
Yes.
Nancy Locklear, yes, Siobhan Daw, Rudy Locklear, Kathy Hunt, Joy McNeil,
yes.
Bobby Emanuel,
Yes.
Chakawana Oxenine,
Yes.
Josephine Dawes,
Yes.
Annie Taylor, Alex Baker, Homer Fields. Motion carries.
Okay, so let me say to you, okay? We have already approved the agenda with the corrections. So now is not the time to do any kind of new proposals or anything. We need to wait until the next CNO committee. I've just asked the chair if he would kindly put that on the agenda for us, and he has agreed. Okay. Do we?
Next item is CLLO-2023-1128-04, Zoom usage for committee meetings. And just so we know, this is a standalone ordinance, but it will go in with our duties in decorum guideline too. So we'll start with the third whereas. Whereas the Lumbee Tribal Council enacted TCRR-2011-1215-01 standing rules of order and regulation govern the duties of the Tribal Council officers and decorum of council meetings, and therefore be it resolved, the Tribal Council of the Lumbee Tribe of North Carolina does hereby enact the following ordinance cited as Zoom usage for committee. see, with the last committee meeting, uh, we had some stuff that was taken out and stuff that was added, and it's all that's in red.
Is there, coming from committee that needs to know second? Is there any discussion? Mr. Richard?
Can you, I got this online. I just want to can I just read the red real quick? Give me just 1 minute.
Because
Just give me 1 minute.
my, I see 2 or 3 things. I don't know if they're typos, but they weren't. That's not what we said in committee. So,
Let's discuss that.
okay, so I'll give you an example. Section, wait a minute, it's Article 4, Section 8. Okay, it said, okay, Section 2. Let's go to Section 2, Article 4, Section 2. That the chairperson or meeting host may mute. In other words, that's we didn't say that. We said that they would be muted, and we're going to do it in proper order. So that's one thing that we said, and it's not in here. Second thing, Section 8 says, we said that we weren't going to have a chat box, that, we would allow comments towards the end, and that we wouldn't do the chat box because it takes away from the meeting, number one, and it downplays the negativity. So those are my problems with this. Mrs. Christie.
Oh, I took the minutes for that meeting. So what I recall was, and I can go back because I thought I had it with me, that the moderator would be responsible. We don't see chat. We're not sitting here unless we're at home with the computer in front of us. So we're not going to be able to see that. So I thought that he was going to control or hear stuff.
But it just says we'll have the authority. It's not the way we said it, because we had a lengthy discussion about that, and I do remember.
Right. So are you saying that we said there will not be a chat box, period?
Mr. Richard, Mr. Joe.
My recollection was, because we brought this up about none of us sitting on this council see what the moderator says, because they got to give the question somehow. And then we discussed, who's going to want to give up their right to come to a meeting and by being disrespectful. Because if they do, nobody, it happened in the past because we had no way of controlling it. Now we have a controller. The meetings that I go to, the environmental meetings, we have a moderator, and you have to have the chat to get a question, and only the moderator gets to see it. And if anybody, I don't know, whatever size to do wrong, only the moderator sees it. The moderator can cut them out immediately, and they're gone that quick. It's not an ongoing chat box. It's a question. But the moderator, whoever that committee chooses to be the moderator, is over that.
Mr. Joe.
Two things. The first thing, what you're talking about, number 8 on section 4 says moderator will have the authority to remove individuals and will be responsible for the chat box. That's in there that the moderator will look at the chat box. But my issue and the reason I can't support this is because there was lengthy discussion about those attending the Zoom meeting from the public side would be verified that they are tribal members by their tribal enrollment card or something, and it's not in this thing. So therefore, I'm going to vote no on it because of that issue.
Anybody else that hadn't spoke? If not, Mr. Richard.
I don't know why it's not in here.
Did
Because
talk about that.
but we did talk about, that is the main criteria that you must register in and go through your, is it Miss Lakeisha? Do you see something? But I thought that was just common. I thought it was just common information that you must register with your number to get in.
That is in Article 8.
I'm sorry, it's not in
Article
red.
8.
It's at number one on A. Sorry.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Anyone else? Madam Secretary?
Ely Oxenine,
No.
Sharon Hunt, Gerald Gooseby,
No.
Carol Smith,
Yes.
Pam Hunt,
As is, no. I can't support as is.
Jody Bullard,
As is, no.
Wendy Moore, Karen Chalakler,
Yes.
Christy Hunt, Richard Jones,
Yes.
Nancy Locklear, no. Yvonne Dye,
Yes.
Rudy Locklear, Kathy Hunt, no. Joy McNeil,
No.
Bobby Emanuel,
No.
Chakawana Oxenine,
Yes.
Josephine Knowles,
No.
Annie Taylor, Alex Baker, Homer Fields.
Know who typed this up, Mr. Dillon?
Motion fails.
Do we know who typed this up?
So I took the notes that was given during the meeting.
I
I
took
had
the meeting, the minute.
yes, the minutes. She gave them to me, and the only thing I did was just took out what was we wanted to take out that night that was out of the original document, and then I added back what we wanted to add. That was in the red.
Yeah, because I'm not against Zoom. It's just there's things I don't, because I took notes too. I know we did that about the chat because I had a conversation with two of the members that were here that night.
I can send y'all to your email. I put who said what. I'll be glad to send that.
Do that then, and we'll just get it. We can get it approved, Mr. Richard.
Thanks. I don't understand why I don't understand. This has been in committee meetings all year. I thought we had this solved last time. And I've seen us before just recently say with changes. Not one of y'all tried to make a change. You just voted it down. The people has been asking for this over a year now. Appreciate your no votes. Appreciate y'all.
All right, Mr. Bobby, you had something in ethics.
Um,
While we're waiting for that to be passed out, and I'm sure every council member agrees, but for the folks represented here in District 3, if you would please let myself or Mr. Harold know, and I'm sure that goes for all these other districts, about somebody who is in need for Christmas. We would like to do some food baskets or something to help. So if you can contact us and let us know, we'd greatly appreciate it. Ready, Mr. Bobby?
PLLO 2010031201, Ethics and Conflict of Interest Ordinance. I'm going to start the fourth whereas. Tribal Council determined that additional provisions of the Ethics and Conflict of Interest Ordinance shall include ethical standards of conduct that shall guide the act of all persons who have a relation with the tribal government and provide guidance for conducting business and protect the interests of tribal members and the reputation and integrity of the tribal government. Whereas the ethical standard of the conduct shall govern the conduct of the tribal officials, tribal appointees, committee members, volunteers, tribal members in a manner that protects the best interests of the tribe and is free from corruption and misconduct in the tribal government. All of the above persons are subject to the provision of this ordinance and any other tribal ordinance or personally responsible for ensuring his or her conduct conform to these provisions. Therefore, be it enacted that the Tribal Council of Long Beach Tribe of North Carolina and the following ordinance cited the Ethics and Conflict of Interest Ordinance.
So this did not come from committee tonight. It was asked to be put on the agenda. So is there any discussion? The chairman has vetoed this ethics and conflict of interest ordinance that came out of, committee.
I'd like to make a motion that we send it back to committee to discuss and bring it back to council.
Second the motion.
Properly moved and seconded. Madam Secretary?
And
This
if
is
we were
another
not
one.
going through this, the other option would be, so the people that might not know, that if we override the veto, is it 2/3 vote?
Thirds.
2/3 vote, then it passes, and we're not going back to committee
Okay. Is there,
and letting it take a year.
is that a substitute motion?
Yes, it is.
I second that.
Okay. Me too. All right. All in favor of this? You have to accept it. Who made the motion for it to go back? He said that we could vote on it tonight with 2/3 votes and override this veto, and it would be done.
Not in favor of overriding the veto till we discuss what the issue is and get a clear understanding. This was just handed to me, literally. And you want me to vote one way or the other. We've talked about the issue, and I may be great with it. I mean, clap hands and support it. But until we get a chance to discuss it, look at it, I mean, I can't vote on something that, literally laid in my lap.
I mean, can I say?
Do we?
So the last business meeting, we voted on this ethics ordinance to be changed, and if I make it correct, whoever was here that night, it was 100% vote. Correct, Mr. Richard? So the chairman vetoed it. So it's nothing has changed. So I'm kind of confused at why you supported it 30 days ago, but you can't support it tonight, all because the chairman vetoed it. And the problem with it was that the chairman didn't want the council to have a layoff period. He did want the council to have a layoff period. I'm sorry. So we changed that to where the council could come off and automatically roll into a consultant job or whatever with the tribe. So that's why the chairman vetoed it. So if we've stayed in committee for 3 or 4 months, we went back and forth. We was all in agreement that night in committee to take that portion out. It come to the full council. We voted. It was 100% yes. The chairman vetoes it, and then you come tonight and you act like you know this is brand new, but it's not brand new because it's the same ordinance that you voted on 30 days ago.
Well, first of all, ma'am, a committee is not the full council. A committee is a thing to vote on to bring full council. I can vote yes 20 times in a committee and vote no here to get it out of committee, whether I agree with it or not. That's one issue. A committee is not the council. So every council member that sits on any committee can vote any way they want to and change it when they get to a council meeting. That don't mean one way or the other. And I'm not saying I wouldn't for it in a committee. I want to understand why it was vetoed. I don't care. I mean, I agree with the ordinance. I worked on it the year I was the ethics chairman. I agree with the ordinance, but I want to know why it was and what was the purpose and the background of why it was vetoed. Why does he have an issue with it?
I told you why the chairman had an issue with it.
Now you told me what the issue was, but why is it an issue?
I mean, I don't know. You have to ask
Well,
your
then I
chairman
need to
that.
talk with them and let them
I
explain
mean, your
to us
chairman's
why he
got to
don't
tell
have
you
why
that.
he
All
has a
thing I know
problem with it.
is he
Well, you
vetoed it.
vote the way you want to vote, and I'll vote the
Well,
way I
that's
want to vote.
fine.
Thank you.
Up or down.
Okay. Okay. So what we're going to do, we've got a motion on the floor. We've got a second. You either vote to send it back to committee, or you can vote no, and then we have to vote on it tonight.
Madam Speaker,
Yes.
we need to vote on the substitute motion first.
I know, but did he get a second?
Yes.
I can
And
agree,
he
I
he
can
didn't
agree, I can
accept it.
agree I can agree if the veto fails that it goes back to committee. I can agree with that. So I can withdraw my motion. I agree with that.
Okay, so
Cause
you,
it'll go back to committee anyway.
all right, so you're, okay, so now we got Richard's motion on the floor. It's been properly seconded. Madam Secretary. And would you please restate your,
Yes, so let's be clear at what we are voting
My,
for.
my motion was that we vote to override the veto. And that's a friendly amendment. So if it fails, it would go back to committee either way. But my motion was to vote on the veto, override the veto.
okay, Madam Secretary. Everybody understands what we're voting on?
Billy Oxenine,
Yes.
Sharon Hunt, Gerald Gooseby,
No.
Harold Smith,
Yes.
Pam Hunt,
Yes.
Jody Bullen,
Yes.
Wendy Moore, Carrington Locklear,
Yes.
Christy Hunt,
Yes.
Richard Jones,
Yes.
Nancy Locklear, yes. Yvonne Daw, Rudy Locklear, Kathy Hunt, Joy McNeil,
Yes.
Bobby Emanuel,
Yes.
Chakawana Oxenine,
Yes.
Josephine Dawes,
Yes.
Annie Taylor, Homer Fields,
Yes.
Because it has to be 2/3.
16 yes,
Okay.
1 no, and 3 absent.
Okay, so this veto has been overridden officially. Okay.
Right.
All right, Mr. Jody. Didn't you, Mr. Bobby? Mr. Jody?
Thank you. Again, ladies and gentlemen, this is just a letter of support that we support University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, partnering with the Lumbee Tribe of North Carolina. The only reason why we're partnering with the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill is that we have to use their data system in order to submit the data and input it out back to us. The tribe will be obtaining this data only. Matter of fact, Ms. Tammy Manor will be collecting that. She will be the sign off on that data if anybody needs to use it, since she is our government affairs official. But again, this letter is just a letter of support saying that we support the collaborations with UNC Chapel Hill, and the Lumbee Tribe. It's nothing we haven't done in the past. This is just written statement. Since we have the IRB in place, this is probably, I can go and attest that I don't think there's a study that came through the Lumbee Tribe this year without our approval. And a lot of people has actually give us a hand clap on the back for that. So I just need your support. Again, this will be approved in January 1st for a grant of $50,000.
Pleasure of the council.
Make a motion to accept this letter as it's written to be sent.
Second.
It's been properly moved in second. Madam Secretary, any discussion? I'm sorry. Madam Secretary?
Yes.
Sharon Hunt, Gerald Gooseby, Harold Smith,
Yes.
Pam Hunt,
Yes.
Jody Bullard,
Yes.
Wendy Moore, Carrington Locklear, Christy Hunt,
Yes.
Richard Jones,
Yes.
Nancy Locklear, yes. Yvonne Daw, Rudy Locklear, Kathy Hunt, Doy McNeil,
Yes.
Bobby Emanuel,
Yes.
Chakawana Oxenine,
Yes.
Josephine Dawes,
Yes.
Annie Taylor, Alex Baker, Homer Fields.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to call your attention to the November calendar. We have the lighting of the turtle this Thursday at 5:30 and a District 4 community meeting at 6:30. Um, are there any additions that need to be made to the November calendar, November.
There's my district meeting on there for District 4. And I apologize.
So that is still on District 4
Yes,
meeting?
for the 30th.
Okay,
And
all right.
meeting at 6:30.
Any other additions for November calendar? Hearing none,
I have a question on calendars. They recently sent out the uh, text message email about the events going on, and if we say yes or maybe or whatever, it goes to our calendar. I've done that. None of it went to my calendar. I don't know if I got the. It's Microsoft, correct? Yeah, I did it like when you sent it out like day before yesterday or when it was. So it'll actually automatically go. Okay, thank you.
one else? Hearing none, and we'll move to the December calendar, Mr. Dewey.
Can I do Constitution and Ordinance on the 5th at 6:30?
On. I was informed today that we don't have any finance resolutions to work on. However, we do need to fine tune that travel policy some more. So, but we can wait. Mr.
If nobody else, I'll go after Constitution and ordinance. 5th. Yes, thank you.
Anyone else? That we don't have to have one this month because we don't have anything to approve this month coming out of finance. But we hopefully I would like for us to study that travel policy and get back to that with suggestions, recommendations for the January. Mr. Gerald?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to contact Josh. We may have to schedule a December report. At this time, I don't have that information, but I'll text out
Get it to
or
them.
chat out.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. We have the Christmas light show and the ham distribution on the 15th. Is that correct? We got that straight now. And that'll be starting at 6 o'clock at the Cultural Center, and that's the one you're gonna have 4 other sites, correct? At 5:30. Okay. Tribal Council business meeting at 6:30 on the 21st. The 23rd through the 30th, tribal offices will be closed. That follows suit with what the county and the city usually does. Mr. Richard, then Mr. Jody.
Several things. The original Lumbee Santa will be at the art market on the 9th. You guys want a treat, man, you better bring your babies out that day.
What time is that, Mr. Richard?
That's from 10 to 2
And that's over
at the
by
art
the road
market
right there, art
downtown
market.
at the old Johnson Shoe Shop. Also, Mr. Jones's birthday is on the 31st of December. Just for that
Just
information.
a FYI.
Yes.
Okay.
And maybe on the 21st, we could get a follow up on NIEA. Maybe because we haven't done that yet, and that's in the ordinance.
Okay. Also, Tammy, you come up, please. Can you, I think it was sent out, but it was just kind of, anyway, can you tell us when the Lumbee Tribe staff's Christmas party will be? I know it's on a Saturday.
The staff party is December the 16th at 5 o'clock at the Boys and Girls Club here in Pembroke. Yeah, December 16th, 5 o'clock at the Pembroke Boys and Girls Club. Yes, he invited you, Mr. Ricky.
Okay, Miss 7th. Okay, Miss Chuckwan.
I would like to take the opportunity to thank everyone for their sponsorship for the Hanassa banquet. Dewey was there. I hope he had a really good time, and I appreciate everybody for their sponsorship. Just the auction alone, I think we raised over $8,000 off of the auction. We don't have a grand total yet, so it went really well. I also want to and I know we have some meetings, but on December the 5th at the Hope County Health Department, there's going to be a discussion on suicide awareness among our Lumbee people. Mr. Tony Locklear, I'm sorry, who is a employee with the health department, he is sponsoring this. So, that's what we're talking about.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Jody.
Actually, I have two things. One is I meant to bring this up earlier, and I apologize. It can be put on the calendar for December. I had reached out early in the private text group that about a talking circle. We were asked to do a talking circle through UNC Chapel Hill for the council, and she actually asked today if we could schedule it before Christmas. What day would you guys preferably have? Lunch will be served, and also you will be receiving a gift card for your
They
participation.
coming here,
We'll be at the
Pembroke
Culture Center.
Culture Center.
What Saturday would be available for you guys? Again, we can. That's totally before Christmas. That's totally up to you guys. It'll be a little tough. Yeah.
Not the 9th, not 16th.
And see, like
Plus,
it can be. I guess it only take 2 hours. And again, she had preferably do it on Saturdays, but on a Saturday that's totally up to you guys. But
Saturday's gonna be tough.
Mr. Tony will be conducting the talking circle that day as well.
My Saturdays are booked.
Okay.
And R two.
Okay. I'm totally in agreement with that. Second thing, what about our Christmas party? We gonna have a 39 or what?
It's on the 8th. 8th.
Oh, Christmas party. What's it gonna be at this time? Cause y'all keep moving it. And I don't know who keeps making that decision. After we voted on.
Well, there was only I think 5 people who voiced their opinion. We tried to get everybody. So Miss Sharon took it upon herself to try to pull it together just like she did last year, and there was no hesitation. So we can't. You're never gonna please everybody. It's a painted pony. Listen, Shannon, straight down. We'll make sure you get addresses and times and stuff. Okay. One else. Again, before let's stand for our invocation. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Okay. So all in favor?
Miss, Miss Pam, I want to thank all the council members and those that prayed for my wife as she went through with her knee. I've been very, very busy. I've been washing clothes, washing dishes, cooking, cleaning, sweeping. But
Not at my house.
but she is doing a lot better. She's
Amen.
walking. She uses a cane some, but I thank y'all. It took a lot of my time away from this group, but I really appreciate y'all's prayers.
Absolutely. I also, again, I want to thank everybody who prayed for us while we were in Louisiana. I can't stress how tough that and humiliating that was. So we appreciated your prayers. I think I put it in the chat box every day asking for prayers. It was tough. Yes, y'all did. The The other thing is, again, would you please remember Miss Sharon? She is devastated tonight. And it's no secret, you know, she's her fur baby is gone. That pet has is it's like a child to her, and she's had that pet for probably 15, 17 years. It's blind, and you know she just would like some closure. She hasn't eaten since December, so I mean Sunday. So please keep her in your prayers, Mr. Bill, and then Mr. Richard.
Richard had his hand up.
Oh, I didn't see. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Two things. The day we have our Christmas party, probably that's my birthday. Pretty good. And also last week I was another granddaddy.
Woohoo!
Number 3.
Congratulations, Mr. Richard.
Since we look so beautiful tonight, please let us take a picture right after. I
Absolutely.
heard somebody say they had to go, but please, it won't take us but a second. After we said
Miss Tasha still here? Tasha still here?
all right, we get someone to
We'll get some.
match the camera.
Okay. Is there any more prayer requests, Miss Joe, Miss?
I'd like to thank everybody for praying for my great grandson. He had been on the, while we were in Louisiana, he was hospitalized in uh, Florida and on life support. And right now, you know, he's off and he's home and he's breathing good. And I thank the Lord and I thank all of you for your prayers.
Concern, Miss Joe.
Remember all the unsafe.
Miss
Thank
Annie.
you for my prayers.
Anyone else? Don't want to cut nobody off. If not, Mr. Tony Hunt, would you please dismiss us in prayer?
Say one thing to the council. I should have signed up for public comment, but in Hope County, for our calendar for holidays next year, we did recognize the Indigenous Day for a holiday in Hope County, so our county will be closed on Indigenous Day.
John.
Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, Lord, we just thank you for this night. We thank you for all the business that have been taken care of here tonight, Lord. Thank you for our leadership of our tribal council, Lord. We thank you for all of them and the hard work that they do, Lord. And we understand fully, Lord, the things that they go through trying to help their constituents in their each district and even within our whole territory. Lord, we thank you again for all the work that we do together. We appreciate everything that's been done. We ask you just bless them now and all the hearts that are broken tonight from different things that have gone on in their life. We continue to pray for them and ask that you would just comfort them. We ask that you give us a great Christmas, Lord, and all these things we ask in thy name we pray. Amen.
One last thing before we leave. Y'all, please, you know what? Let's please thank our staff. We put them through a lot. They work so hard for us. We might get frustrated again, but I want to thank the staff for everything they do. Okay, come on, Richard.
Hey, Mr. Homer and Miss Annie, if y'all want to come down the front, some can come in the front and some of us can stand up here. And everybody down?
I want you to. How you want us, Miss Tasha? Tell us how you want us, Miss Tasha.
Since some of y'all are dressed up, I mean, if the men want to stand in the back, or we can have everybody down front. It don't matter.